don't have to be quiet, you can talk. Okay, we're going to start with, we're just going to bring up one of our, I'll get rid of that in a minute. We're going to bring up our flare pants. So there's the belt. Just bring it up. Get rid of that. And there's the pants. Okay, now to start, I'm just going to put a pair of underwear on. You already have underwear made, right? Okay. So I'm just going to go here to this one, click it, go to my opacity, and I'm just going to put a pair of underwear on, and mine are, they're hidden behind you. So I already have them made, and I know that they pass MCG, but you're not going to see them anyway. So those are in, and you see no difference. Now we're going to go to our pant, and if you want it to be high up like this, with the belt down, you can, but the belt's going to be down there, or you can manipulate this to make the belt or the pant a little lower. So what you do is add a layer. You click your paintbrush, you make your paint white. You want your scale of your brush to be, oh, well, this one is 28. With this much, just a little bigger. It can be a little bigger. Now how I do this is I just hold my shift key down after I click. So I'm going to start on the bottom because I know I want all that. So I'm going to just click, hold my shift, and then I'm going to follow this, making sure that I get all the, outside those red, where it's red. And then you got to figure out where you want it to, start your pant. So I'm just going to go here for now. Try to go straight across. I'm hoping it's straight, but I'll fix it later. And then I'm going to go back around. Make sure you're outside of the little pink or red or purple or whatever color that is lines. And then go up to the top and go back down. Make sure you get that in there. It doesn't matter if it's perfect as long as you go outside of the line, okay? And I'm going to see if this works. It hasn't been, but I'm going to see if it does. It worked this time, yay. All I did was took my bucket. It wasn't working yesterday at all. Took my bucket fill and clicked inside of there, and it bucket filled it. So now all I got to do is go back to my paintbrush and fill in these little lines that it didn't get. I'll just make my brush a little bit bigger. I don't think so. Nope. No, you have to know how to mesh to do that. Okay, so here there's other pants, but this is a separate. So that's why we're using this one. Now all I'm going to do, because got that done, is go to my layers, duplicate it, go back to my layer, transform and flip, and see if it'll, nope, it won't. Nope, it's not going to do it. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and try to make it. I'll just go inside that red part on both sides. And it doesn't have to be neat, like I said. What you do want to be neat is this top. So now I'm going to go to my layers and merge it down so that and you can see the other two layers. But I'm going to take my rectangle select and try to make these straight across. And all I'm going to do is clear it. So I just click clear. And now under here where my map is, I'm going to click that. I'm going to add a layer so I can keep my map. So I have a layer in the middle right here. And then I'm just going to go to my edit and fill it with background so that it is black. And I don't know if that's solid black. me see. So I'm going to go over here, click the edge of my black, make sure it's a 100, and then go back and fill it so it's solid black. I thought that was a little grayer black. Okay, so that's my flare pants, and I'm going to save it, or you can call it your flare pant opacity if you want. But I'm going to save it and put it on and see if we have that in the right spot. So I click the pink, go over here to this, and put my flare pant on in my opacity. I've been really lagging, just to let you know. So okay, and see how it took it down? So now your belt is lower. However, I don't know if that'll pass MCG. I keep freezing all the time. So I'm going to get another pair of underwear because you can see your underwear is going to stick up. So what I'm going to do is go here. I'm just going to go to my underwear. I don't know why she did it, her belt like that. We can always take it off and add a belt. But underwear. I'll just grab that one. It doesn't matter which one I use. Okay. Now, so I'm just going to grab this one. I'm going to erase the bra. It doesn't even matter if you erase the bra because it won't show up. And you can see my blacks are different. Why is that? This is on 100. I don't know why it's not as black as it should be. Let me go to white and go all the way over here to this black and make sure that's 100. I'm going to see if that's as black as the other. Yep, it is. It's weird how your blacks can be different colors, but it does make a difference. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just take off some of this underwear so that it doesn't show. So I'm just going to go down to here, and it might make it AP. Fill that in with black. I'm going to save this on my desktop. That way I can find it. Okay. So that took it off, and it's still going to pass your MCG because you don't see any red. Okay? So, let's go back to our pant. Oh, I wanted to check that too. I want to see if the pant is even. Yeah, the belt's going to cover it, so it will be. Alright. Let me just... I don't want to play with it, and I shortened it, so I'm just going to do this so I can see the whole thing. And it... Why is this doing this? It's because of that. Maybe I'll just try to lengthen it. I don't know if it'll work. Okay, there it goes. It's still not quite right. Oh well. I'm not gonna mess with it. Okay, so I'm gonna click this one with the white, this layer here. This is the layer that you're going to work with to do your texture. So you want what color pant? Blue? Purple? What color purple? Like that color? Okay. So what I'm going to do is click my color select here. I'm going to take my threshold all the way to the bottom because I just want white. And then I'm going to fill that in with purple. So that's your background. And now we're just going to add layers to it. So we're going to add a layer. Now this is where I believe that this one's the front. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get a darker purple. And this is where I'm going to just pretend like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to make a little rectangle and I'm going to fill it with that darker purple and pretend like I know what I'm doing, because I don't. Copy it and paste it again. And what I'm going to try to recreate is a pleat. Alright, now I'm going to duplicate the layer and flip it, but it's going to end up on this side, so I'm going to move it over here. Try to get it even. And then merge it. And you still just have this is all on a separate layer. Okay, now I'm going to blur it just a little bit. Okay, let's start. Okay, now I went to 2, and now I'm just going to do vertical a little bit more so that it kind of fades out a little bit. And it might be too dark, so go to your colors, colorize it. And what I want a purple, but I don't want it as dark as what I had it. So I want it to be subtle. Okay, so that looks like it might be subtle enough. And then I'm going to save it and change my name to the texture so that I can see if the pleat is in the right spot, and if it's on the front or the back, you know, because this is a new mesh for me. I've never used it, so I'm just going to check this out. Okay, so it's not quite centered, so you're going to go back and center it. Okay, now I'm going to add another layer and do the same thing. I'm going to get a really super duper tiny brush, and this time I'm going to get a light purple and copy it and paste. I'm going to move them next to these ones. And then these ones I did on the inside, so over here I'm going to do them on the inside on this side, alright? Okay. And actually, this one I think needs to go up a bit. You know, I'm just going to do it the way I always do it. I'm only going to do one side and then flip it. That way I know that they're even. So now that there's 2 of them in there, I'm going to duplicate that layer and flip it, and then I'm just going to move it over here so that I know that they're even. And then you just merge them together. So now that they're merged, I'm going to go back and blur it, and it should just be the same blur as it was before. And this time I'm just going to take my opacity down on it like this, It's kind of like a wrinkle. Sort of, kind of, but not exactly, okay? And I'm going to take it down a lot so that it's barely, so you can barely see it. Just you can, but you can see it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the first one, go to filters, and add a drop shadow. And I'm going to make it pretty low. I'm just going to make it a 2. Make sure this is not checked, because if it is, you'll get transparency on the edges. So I add a little bit of a drop shadow, and we're going to see if that makes it a little more realistic. And on my drop shadow, I'm just going to take it down on its opacity a little bit so it's not so dark. Okay? Now, I'm going to save that. I'm going to put a girl on her so that I can move her around. I'll put this on. And then I'm going to take her hair, make it littler, shorter. Okay. Now, because these are such low rider pants, I think if we did have that, I think we need to make it go up. I don't know that we really need it with a low rider in there. So I'm going to merge those two together so that I can move them up. I actually don't really want them in there, but I'm going to move them up. But you know how to do it for a pair of pants that comes higher up on the waist. So now I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to make a dot where I think that her butt will be. And then I'm going to duplicate the layer and transform and flip it. But it's going to end up over here, so I got to move it over and try to get it exactly in the same spot I think it needs to go there. And then I'm going to merge that layer down, go over to my blur, Gaussian blur, and this time I want it to go up quite high. So I'm going to try that. I made it 36. I'm going to lower my opacity down so it's not so in your face bright. And then I'm going to save it and see if that was in the right spot. So those should go away because they're down there all the way down to her crotch. That's just not right. These need to go up. So all you do is take your move button and move them up. And I'm going to move them all the way up to the top. You can tell I just freeze constantly. I just freeze, freeze, freeze. Do you know what time we started the tape? Okay. I'm going to stop it and restart it. because I've been having a problem with them loading into YouTube if they're too long. Okay, so now you can see it's up a little higher. It's not really bright. You could make it brighter if you wanted. I'm going to go to my tape.